human progress is a story of energy. Like, we do not move forward as a population group anywhere in the world without energy. Like, that's the foundational asset that's needed. And once you have that, you can do all kinds of things, right?
The following is an interview with Eric Hersman, CEO of Gridless. Excerpts from this interview appear in the Joe Nakamoto video, Africa's Secret Off-Grid Bitcoin Mines. Check out that video if you haven't already, and please enjoy the interview.
Could you introduce yourself first?
Yeah. My name's Eric Hersman. I'm co-founder, CEO of Gridless. We're at one of our sites here. So this is actually one of our earliest sites. So this is a 533 kilowatt run-of-river hydro with some added solar, because last year we had the worst drought in 40 years in Kenya. So this was added by our power producing partner. So the independent power producer that built this is called Hydrobox. Great team of guys, and they've built a couple other sites that we're partnering with them on too. What happened though is they only had about 533 kilowatts. They had about 200 of those kilowatts spoken for by like the tea factory, by the community around, and they needed an off-taker that could take up the rest of it to make this a financially viable project. So we joined with them from the very beginning, and at first we were mining out of this little, janky container, and then we have our own. Before we started building our own containers, our own mining containers, we imported this one from Power Mining in Latvia, which has been a fantastic container for us. So that sits over there now and runs, about 300. Has a capacity to do 300 kilowatts of Bitcoin mining. When the waters are raging and it's moving, it's rainy season, it's at full capacity. Right now it's at maybe a half capacity. And so because of that though, we've been able to have a really good partnership with Hydrobox, where they make 30% to 40%, actually trying to remember the actual number for them. And then we make 60 to 70% of the Bitcoin revenue.
Yeah.
So
Is it profitable now? Is this making money by itself, or is it still paying off the initial
the initial capex?
Yeah.
I'd have to look at the numbers. It's, because we don't have a hard OPEX, we don't have a hard, like most mining companies globally have to pay for their power. We don't pay for our power directly. We pay for it indirectly with revenue share, right? So that it caps us on the top side. So if Bitcoin mining, hash price is super high, we'll obviously make a little less money than if we were just paying them out, but it protects us on the downside. So when like over the last month, the hash price has gotten better, but for like 5 months, it was like, in the mid 40s, $40 per terahash, right? And so no miners were making very much money, but we were still profitable on our hash price to hash cost because we do a revenue share. So even on the downside, we still make money, while other people were actually losing money with every terahash they were running.
Wow, that's a total cheat code.
Yeah, no, it is. It's worked out really well for us. Now, I mean, there's some downsides too. Like I said, when Bitcoin hash price skyrockets, we have, we don't make as much as as those others can, but we feel like protecting against the downside risk is more important than the upside potential.
Nice. And you grew up in Kenya, or is it? Yeah. So what does it feel like to electrify Kenya?
Well, yeah. So it's good. I mean, I grew up in Sudan and Kenya. I grew up in way out in the bush in South Sudan. We didn't have any power or energy or anything. So I remember, we pumped our own water. We had candles and paraffin lamps, and so it's nice to see that other people can have electricity in their homes, because not all of us had it in the beginning either. So no, it's great. And if you talk to any of these people here in the community that have the tea farms or the cattle or whatever they have here, they'll tell you what the difference in their life it makes, right? That they can charge their phones, that they can turn an LED light bulb to study from at night instead of a paraffin lamp, that the clinic can now have a cold storage for medicines, and they couldn't do that before, or that it can even be open at night, that they can irrigate their fields. All these things really matter. And I think we sometimes forget that when we live in places that have always on power or internet, things like that. When you first get it, you really realize how much better your life can get with even just a small amount of electricity.
Yeah, that's it. And so you mentioned that there's more sites like this being built at the moment, because right now you're in Kenya, Malawi, Uganda.
No, we're in Kenya, Malawi, and Zambia.
That's it, okay. And so is it all with Hydrobox, all these partnerships?
No. We have different partners, even in Kenya, than just Hydrobox. So we work with different organizations. Anybody who has power that isn't utilizing its full potential and has stranded energy, then we'll come in there and we'll look at it with them and we'll do a partnership. So we're always looking for energy, and it's like, we run off 3 types right now. So hydro, run-of-river hydro is our most common. Then we have biomass, which is burning old biomass that is from a big farm, and what happens is it dies every 10 years. The actual plant dies every 10 years. So now, instead of being burnt in the field, it's chipped up and then burned to run a boiler, which then creates steam, which then runs the turbine. That's the biomass. And then we also have a geothermal. And so there's solar on a couple of them, and we can tell you how inefficient solar is. You get like 5 to 6 hours a day on this. So the return on investment for running solar just isn't there. And the battery storage for being able to run it all day is too expensive. So it'll be a while. I mean, solar might become viable in the future, but it's just not viable right now.
Okay. And last question, sorry. What has this done to local energy prices? Is it possible to say that Gridless has a tangible impact on the cost of electricity for surrounding areas?
It has 2 tangible benefits to both the businesses around here as well as the community who use it for their own, the consumers who use the power for their own households, right? Which is, one, it can lower the price of power. So in this community it did, right? They were able to lower the price of power by about 10 shillings per kilowatt. In other parts of Africa where we operate, we've seen that the power price hasn't dropped, but because the power partner is finally financially sustainable, they're able to extend the grid. So we've seen, for example, in Zambia, we've seen, when we first got there, there was about 1,000 households that had electricity, and a year later, 500 more families had electricity. In Malawi, when we got there, they increased the number of households that had electricity by 200 in the first 3 months. So what we start seeing is the electrification of more people happen. So Gridless's mission is really to help push electrification further to the edges in Africa and decentralize the Bitcoin mining network so that the security is better, right? So in more places and more geographies around the world. Yeah. And that's what we're doing. So we're in 3 countries right now. We're going to be opening up in a few more countries over the next year and a half. And I think there's no end to stranded energy. Yeah. Like, you're from the UK.
Yeah.
Even in the UK, there's stranded energy.
Oh, massively.
Right. Yeah. There's pockets of wasted energy everywhere, and you never get rid of it. So there's stranded potential wherever we look. And as energy guys and regulators understand it, I think that we're going to see a lot more Bitcoin mining happening everywhere in the world, wherever there's energy being created.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, speaking to Kevin as well, it felt like it was a case of, I'm going to spin it around.
Yeah.
It was decentralizing energy, but it also felt like decentralizing opportunity. Is that fair to say?
Sure. Yeah.
Jobs.
No, I mean, like you look at it and you say, like, this little site, which is maybe an acre, right? And it's about 200 meters of canal and forebay and everything that drops into this. And this little bit of potential energy from the drop and the water can have this incredible outsized impact on everybody in the community. There's jobs here, number one. Not a ton of jobs, but maybe a dozen.
Wait,
and then
Kevin was saying 600 jobs, in total.
That's the generation.
Oh, I see.
But then there's the distribution, which is all these power lines that you see, right? Yeah. And these are going in, and you have power line workers, and you have customer service, and you have, all these other guys who are setting up meters and everything like that. So yeah, it has a huge potential for job creation as well, and jobs that actually have some meaningful technical talent uplift.
That's skilled, right? You got to...
Yeah, real skills. So yeah, we're starting to see all that stuff, and it's not just here. We see it everywhere we go. But here's my favorite part, which is every country in Africa has like national power grid outages, right?
Which suck, yeah.
Which suck, right? Like, and we get them in Nairobi. In Malawi, they were going for 8 hours a day. In Zambia, there are 22 hours a day of power outages, curtailment.
22.
So they have 2 hours of power a day.
Why do they even frame it that way?
Meanwhile, in these little mini grids that this generation is a part of, that we backstop, right? They still have power. They don't have a problem.
Oh, so
the power goes off over there, and these guys still have energy. right? So you could see it. Like in Malawi, we were sitting down and we went to sit and had dinner. It was like with our friends like Jeff Booth and Alex Vatsing. We had a group that was there, and the power went out in the whole country. And we looked up on the hill where the mega site is in Malawi, and they all have energy. They all have, the lights are on, everything's twinkling away there, and we're sitting there eating by candlelight in the dark. So that's the beauty, I think, of decentralizing energy too. I think that's, while Bitcoin has really been about decentralization of the money, what people and decentralization and maybe empowerment of the individual for financial means and progress as just people really haven't explored the value of decentralized energy and what that means for human progress. And I think that's what we've just started to explore. Really, what we see here is Bitcoin mining makes renewable off-grid energy profitable. And what we've uncovered over the last 2.5 years of doing that is Bitcoin itself can be the financial engine to build more of this.
It's absolutely awesome. And what does that mean for discovering, the next Jeff Bezos in the, the African savannah, or the next Elon Musk, or whatever it is? They're actually going to go to school, university,
Right.
They're going to have opportunity.
If you take a look at like human progress is a story of energy.
Yeah.
Like we do not move forward as a population group anywhere in the world without energy. Like that's the foundational asset that's needed. And once you have that, you can do all kinds of things, right? And so what happens when you start having schools where people can study at night, or that they can go get jobs because there's more industry. For example, so around this site, before there was electricity, you'd have to walk 10 kilometers to get to your closest maize mill, to take your maize and have it ground. Okay, now there's I think the number in this area is like 5 or 6. They're all within walking distance of any family, right? So even that alone provides efficiencies to everyday life and increases the velocity of business, right? So energy itself is the base layer that allows this progress to happen.
Wow. Powerful. It's just so cool.
It's always in beautiful places. So we're like in a beautiful area with tea fields and maize fields around us, and then you go to another site and it's like you're on the banks of the Zambezi River, and you go to another site, you're on the side of a lake. It's like everywhere we go, it's like okay, it's not.
I'm very
terrible.
glad you're not doing this in the middle of Nairobi.
Yeah, no, it would not work there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So sick. Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Please let me know your thoughts on this video by hitting the like button or leaving a comment. And please do check out the full video, Africa's Secret Off-Grid Bitcoin Mines, on my other channel. Thank you so much to Plan B Network, the one-stop shop for all things Bitcoin education, and to Coin Corner, the British Bitcoin-only exchange, which is a great place to buy Bitcoin. Do what you love and save in Bitcoin. Cheers.